But that's my fear, is that same sort of process will happen for, hey, we need to have badged approved Catholic media outlets on YouTube. And it's going to be Father Bob's job to figure it out. But Father Bob doesn't really know the intricacies or the nuances of anything. And
I mean, I had it on good authority from people who do have their own connections in Rome, who say that, yes, the Vatican does pay attention to social media influencers. And I think this Jubilee event is proof of that. It's why this discussion about, badges for Catholic media, it's weird to have, because on the one hand, we'd like to live in that world where the church has the ability to work hand in hand with the state, and it's not a bad thing, because the church has never endorsed free speech as a general rule. If we lived in a Catholic integralist society, blasphemy laws would absolutely be on the books.
that the Catholic influencer thing could be coming out as a part of the first encyclical under Leo XIV.
By the way, my name is Joe McClane. I host a radio program called A Catholic Take, where we look at the world through a Catholic lens. I'd love for you to hang out with us. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and let us know what you think in the comments below.
But there are lots of stories in the news that are of great concern to us, and Catholic influencers, space, alien invasions, and so much more being talked about over at returntotradition.org. Dr. Anthony Stine, it's Fridays with Stine. Good morning to you, Dr. Stine. Thank you for being on the team with us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on. And it's been a weird week in the news.
At least it's not boring. At least it's not boring. I do want to talk about the influencer thing. I was listening to you this morning on your program, and you said something that kind of caught my attention. And let's go to the Catholic influencer thing. I've been talking about it. In fact, I had Christian Wagner on the team. We kind of talked about it with him a little bit earlier this week. But you seem to suggest that there's a good chance that the Catholic influencer thing could be coming out as a part of the first encyclical under Leo XIV. Do you think that's true?
I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, the Pope has spoken a great deal about AI and the rest of it, and it would be a natural inclusion there to go from AI to the merits and dangers of the internet and all sorts of things. And then from there, you could put in the warning to or about influencers in there. It would be to me, it'd be a bit strange, because often encyclicals will address a contemporary issue, but you don't want to address an issue that could be dated 100 years from now when someone reads the encyclical, to have it be extraordinarily dated. So we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me terribly, because the Vatican has, I had it on good authority from people who do have their own connections in Rome, who say that, yes, the Vatican does pay attention to social media influencers. And I think this Jubilee event is proof of that. They knew well enough who to invite to this thing, after all, but there are people in Rome who pay attention to these things. And so they've been critical of it to a degree. Do you remember when Bishop Barron suggested that there be a badge system given to approved outlets? That got the backlash that you would have expected, especially in a time when he said that. I believe it was right around the time the McCarrick topic with Vigano was coming back. It was 2019, 2020. I don't think it may have been Pachamama was involved, was also. So it was a hot button time to be in Catholic discourse. And so to have him come out and say, maybe we should only have approved voices. The timing was a little bad, we'll say. There are times where he could make that suggestion. It wouldn't look so bad, but that timing was really, really bad. But this has been something they've been thinking about for a long time.
I think, though, in a perfect world, I think you and I would both agree that we would want to see the Vatican, just like we liked when the church regulated movies or books, in order to guard against bad ideas, bad philosophy, bad theology, to help protect the lay faithful. We wouldn't have an issue with that. But the problem is we don't live in a perfect world. And I think we're asking ourselves the question, well, who gets to decide who gets that badge? Who gets to be the gatekeeper in that? It's certainly not going to be the Pope. He's got other things to do today. He's not going to be going through these things. It's going to be delegated to somebody. And can we trust that somebody? That's going to be the problem we're going to have.
Right. And in a perfect world, well, not a perfect world, but in a state where the church wasn't in a period where you could argue that it's in crisis, people like you and I would spend most of the time that we talk about political things would be talking about external things to the church. A Catholic take on whatever the president is doing, or a Catholic take on, whatever weird nonsense Hollywood is peddling this week. In a state where the church is in an unequivocally good state, that's what we would be doing. We wouldn't be worried about, oh no, what's this next encyclical going to say? We wouldn't have any worries about that. We would be worried about what the outside to the church was doing and how Catholics should think about it. But that's not where we are. And so who decides is always a good question, especially because the church has never endorsed political speech, or has never endorsed free speech as a general rule. If we lived in a Catholic integralist society, blasphemy laws would absolutely be on the books. They would be. Pornography would not be accessible, not readily. It'd be on a black market somewhere, but you would not have it easily accessible. And I can make a case rooted in Catholic social teaching on a right to free political speech. You notice the qualifier there. Political, meaning having to do with policy and who's running for office and those kinds of things. But it wouldn't be like the free for all we have now, for better or worse. And, it's why this discussion about, the badges for Catholic media, it's weird to have, because on the one hand, we'd like to live in that world where the church has the ability to work hand in hand with the state, and it's not a bad thing, where the state is staying in its lane and working with the church to ensure that the social environment is good for the salvation of souls and that the church has the freedom to do its work. But censorship comes with that. And yet here we are kind of bristling at the notion of even implied censorship about Catholic media. So it's an odd topic, to say the least. Made all the weirder when that way they did that. They also were doing some Jubilee youth thing going on there, and they trotted out Luce. Luce thing was all over Rome again.
Yeah. I was just in Rome a couple of months ago, and we saw the Luce thing all over the place, and little dolls in stores and such. And it was just, it's cringy at best. It really is just cringy at best. And I think most people feel that way, to be honest.
No one ever likes it also when you bring up that the person who made it also has was in the business of making, we'll call them toys for adult activities.
Right. Right.
Just
That's
bad. So
that illustrates the point, doesn't it? It's like someone got delegated that task. Hey, you know what we need? You know what's cool with the kids these days is we need a little anime character. Okay, Bob, you in the corner over there, Father Bob, go find us an anime character. Okay. And he goes and just Googles an artist, and then now we have Luce. It's like they didn't do enough due diligence to figure out that the artist was involved in very scandalous activities professionally we don't want to be associated with. But that's my fear, is that same sort of process will happen for, hey, we need to have badged approved Catholic media outlets on YouTube. And it's going to be Father Bob's job to figure it out, but Father Bob doesn't really know the intricacies or the nuances of anything, and what is it all going to really mean at the end of the day. I think the people that they like are going to get badges, and people they don't like aren't going to get badges. And I don't think it's going to matter all that much in the long run, because I think people who are looking for certain kinds of information aren't going to pay attention to that badge. Do you think that's fair?
Well, let me put it to you this way. Well, first, most people, the badge system would actually, for a lot of Catholics who don't trust what's going on, if they were to go with it, would end up being the mark of somebody you can't trust. That's what it would end up being. A lot of people say, oh, you're approved. No, that's what would happen. And a lot of good people would get caught up in that too. You would have good priests with the badge who all of a sudden, a lot of Catholics who might need to hear what they have to say about other things wouldn't trust them. And that's a problem. But do you think, for instance, if I had to ask you, this is a rhetorical question, we know the answer, the National Catholic Reporter or Taylor Marshall, who gets the badge? We know the answer to that question.
We definitely know the answer to this. Yes, 100%. It's right. Definitely Taylor Marshall. Oh, wait, hold on. He's the boogeyman now. They blame him for all sorts of wild things. So, again, this is why this whole thing, it'll be interesting when that encyclical comes out. I hope it's about AI, and it's just mostly about AI, with all the good warnings that Catholics need to be reminded of, that, when you go online, maybe you should don't worry about the ad blocker as much as having, a filter. Don't internet pornography bad. That kind of stuff would be wonderful.
we'll see what
I
happens.
agree. I would much rather an encyclical on AI or even on Catholic media influence. I would be okay with that over something like immigration again, or the poor, or the environment. I mean, I would love to see something new. And if he did it on AI, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be a good thing to have.
Yes, and especially since AI is, at least at its current phase, is just a tool, but it's already being grossly misused. There are a whole host of new channels all come up with since within 36 hours of Pope Leo being elected Pope. There are a whole host of channels now called Pope Leo Wisdom, Pope Leo Sermons, Pope Leo this. And they all just make up homilies and then clone his voice and have him say it. But you never get video of him saying it. So it's kind of the giveaway. And it's not like a normal person just reading it. And even if it's not his voice or saying, oh, here we are reading his homily, the delivery is almost perfect. It's almost perfect, except it sounds, when you listen to it, otherworldly because it's fake. There's something unsettling about it because it's fake. And these channels have thousands of subscribers. And we all know, I don't know if you are good at spotting AI images and AI video, but a lot of people aren't. My inbox is like, Anthony, you need to comment on this. And it's like, clearly AI nonsense that somebody posted. I mean, I got one recently about the Pope giving 17 new rules for Catholics or something. And I'm like, did you check the Vatican News website for this?
Right.
The easiest way to check.
That's the problem, is you have to you have to double check all these things. I will say, though, one of the greatest AI video, fake news jobs of Pope Leo so far has been the video of him praising Michael Jordan as the greatest basketball player ever. That was kind of a fun video to watch. I don't know if you've seen that.
Was somebody made a video like that?
Yeah. They made a video, totally fake. But it's great. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good.
You know why somebody did that? Why people might be fooled by that? Because he's from Chicago, right? He's Bob from Chicago. And please, people, stop calling him that. Like, seriously, stop. That's respect the office enough to stop calling him Bob, please. Right. But he's from Chicago. Ergo, he must be a Bulls fan.
Yeah.
I guess.
Similarly related to this topic, yesterday I saw a post from Father Dave Nix hanging out with Mel Gibson. And he said Mel Gibson asked Father to tell the world that he has 0 social media accounts. So if you see anything from a supposed Mel Gibson account anywhere online, it's not him, it's fake. And boy, that really is a big problem today. It seriously is a problem. You can fake all kinds of people, voices, images, video, and everything else, which can be very dangerous, which is why I think it would be great to see an encyclical on this topic by Pope Leo. I fear that we're going to get something on immigration or the poor or something. Not that those aren't important topics, but we've had all of that. What we need is more clarity and guidance on these topics.
Yes, and that is actually the point of Catholic social teaching, is to, when these encyclicals are issued, to address an issue of the time, but give long-ranging principles that are rooted in the timeless teachings of the church. You're just presenting a gospel solution and a timeless teaching to whatever the issue of the day is. And so, like AI, the easiest AI answer is, well, you're not supposed to bear false witness on people. So cloning the Pope's voice and putting words in his mouth, bearing false witness, you should stop doing that, as an example. Yeah,
and if he gives us some great advice on how to take pictures of our dinner and put it on the gram and get the priest with the pecs out to do some flexing, I mean, all that would be good too. From the Catholic Influencer
Make sure they're
Conference. Hey, maybe we'll see you back at the top of the hour for the after show. Dr. Anthony Stine, returntotradition.org is the website. Coming up after the break, we're going to get into government bribing Catholic orgs to support Hillary Clinton and the Tulsi Gabbard press.
Did you like that video? It's okay. You can admit it. It's perfectly fine. Hey, we cover the big stories of our day, from inside the church to outside the church to all points in between, and we do it from a Catholic perspective. It's called A Catholic Take. It's a radio program Monday through Friday. We live stream it right here on this channel, by the way, so make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We would be very grateful to you. And don't forget, you're going to want to watch this video right here because you don't want to miss anything.